Hi, my name is Richard Perkins, and today I'm going to discuss my identity wheel, which you see here. I held several different identities, which you could see here represented to scale based on how they influence my life, right? I'm extremely aware of several of my identities. The first identity that I'd like to discuss today is my German heritage. I'm dual citizen, American and German, and I'm the only person and the first generation American in my family. Everybody else lives in Germany. And I definitely do acknowledge and appreciate the really troubled history Germany has with oppression. Speaking of oppression, I am a member of a targeted community, the queer community. But as you'll see later on when we review my personal identity wheel again, you'll see how that identity can have both elements that are privileged as well as targeted. And the privilege is something that historically I have not been too aware of. As you can see, I have my white identity shown on this list. And you see this little circle that's moving, this little animated circle. That's to show the importance of intersectionality and how my whiteness, for instance, intersects with my queerness. Really relates back to readings I've done, Peggy McIntosh talking about the invisible knapsack, filled with privileges that my whiteness offers that I do not see. Here it has disappeared because it's something historically I've not been aware of until I started doing this anti-oppression work. Looking into her readings about, from Garan, from Marsilia, they touch on, this idea of how certain oppressed groups, right, can continue to be oppressed even within other groups. Specifically, realizing that race and gender inequities are some of the most visible, right, sources of difference, even within groups like the queer community, right, and how even targeted groups like the queer community can privilege white voices over those voices of people of color, especially over voices of trans people of color. There's a growing movement within the queer community to exclude trans people from our protections. And Marsilia talks about, obviously, the oppression paradigm, right, and talking about these inequities. In addition, right, we have the Nakamura discussing high power and low power characteristics. And within some of the groups I've been a member of, specifically queer recovery spaces, spaces that were deemed as progressive, there were people of color making concessions to sort of the greater narrative that was being discussed by the white people in the group. With that, I'd like to thank you very much.